Little Bird of Ra, an Egyptian myth bedtime tale. Chapter 1. Morning on the Nile. The sun peeked over the sandy hills. Birds squawked. Fishermen wailed from their small boats. The Nile river sparkled like gold. Far away, in the sky, Ra stretched. Where was the sun god? He had a long day ahead. Every day, he sailed his boat across the sky. Every night, he sailed through the dark underworld. This morning, Ra yawned. He put on his golden crown. The crown had a bright red sun in the middle. Another journey, Ra said. His boat was waiting. It was called the Manjat. It was long, shiny, and shaped like a crescent moon. Sight, the wise Apophis god, flapped in. He had squirrels tucked under his wing. Your schedule is ready, Ra, said Dive. First stop, morning blessings for the farmers. Ra smiled. He loved the farmers. The Manjat pushed off. The eagle was dipped in sunlight. The sky turned brighter. Down below, the farmers cheered. Ra is here. Time to work. But in the shadows, someone else was watching. A big, black, quail shape. It hissed. Its yellow eyes glowed. It was Zebeb, the giant serpent. He hated Ra, and he had a plan. Chapter 2. The whispering reed, whose boat glided over the clouds. The earth splashed in golden light. Below, green reeds swayed in the Nile's breeze. But these reeds whispered. Not to the farmers, not to the birds. They whispered to Abab. Ra has started his journey. It's the reeds. He is strong, Abab replied. But I am patient. In the Manjat, Ra hummed. Beside him stood Mat, the goddess of truth. She wore a feather on her head. She kept the world in balance. Today feels peaceful, Ra said. Mat looked at the horizon. She frowned. Sometimes peace hides trouble, she said softly. A shadow slid under the reeds. It curled and uncurled. It was a bab, listening. His body was as long as the Nile. His teeth were sharp as broken shells. He hated the light. He loved the dark. And every night, he tried to stop his bite. In the villages below, children pointed to the sky. They could see his boat shining. Make a wish, their mother said. They did not see the shadow moving in the water. High above, Ra felt a chill. The sun dimmed for a moment. Strange, Ra murmured. He did not know that Abab had begun his chase early. Chapter 3. The day's first stop. His magic glided toward the first village. The fields below shimmered with wet morning dew. Farmers lifted their hands to the sky. They prayed for water, for crops, for good luck. Ra stood tall at the front of his boat. He raised his staff of light. The sunlight poured down in warm golden streams. The river sparkled brighter. The crops straightened, leaves reaching out like tiny green hands. Beside Ra, Mat smiled. Balance is strong today, she said. Her feather shifted gently in the breeze. The air felt calm. Bedtime, standing in the back, scribbled notes. He dipped his quill in a pot of ink. The wines are strange, Faith muttered. The shadows moved too quickly. Ra turned to look. Far below, the Nile bent in a lazy curve. But in that curve, the water rippled, though there was no wine. In the hidden depths, Abab swam. His long body twisted between rocks and reeds. He had been following since sunrise. He could hear the creak of his walls above. Abab thought of the night. man jet reached the second village. I leaned over the edge of the boat. "Blessings to you," he called. The villagers clapped and danced. Happy, the god of the Nile, rose from the river. He was round and jolly, with water lilies in his hair. "Oh, the floods are coming on time this year," Happy said. "Your light has warmed the snows for south. The river will rise well." "That is good news," Will said. He patted Happy's shoulder, but Mada's eyes were still on the water. She saw the thin, black shadow slipping out of sight. "Wrong," she whispered. "You should know Apep is not waiting for nightfall." Roya's face hardened. He gripped his staff tighter. "If he comes now, then we meet him now," Will said. The wind picked up. The clouds turned the color of iron. Somewhere far below, the reeds stopped whispering and began to hiss. Chapter 4. The First Clash. The man jet sailed into darker skies. The morning sun dimmed as if covered by a veil. His crew shifted uneasily. The air was heavy, thick, and still. From the Nile far below, a roar rose. It was not the sound of water. It was deep and angry, like a storm trapped under the earth. A ripple broke the river's surface. Then another. And then, with a great rush, Apep burst upward. His body rose like a black mountain from the water. Scales the size of shields glistened with slime. His yellow eyes burned like twin fires. His fangs dripped with poison. "Who?" Apep bellowed. "This day will not end with your light." Ross stepped to the bow of the man-jet. His staff blazed with fire. "Back to your depths, Apep," Will commanded. "The world needs the sun." Apep's laughter rattled the air. He lunged, jaws wide enough to swallow the butthole. The crew scrambled. Will splashed wildly. Matt steadied herself, her feather glowing faintly. Then shouted over the chaos. "Run!" striking his eyes, blind him in the daylight. Flowed a beam of pure sunlight. It struck Apep's face. The serpent screeched and twisted. Steam rose where the light touched his scales. But Apep was fast. He whipped his tail against the boat. The man-jet rolled hard. Two great gods tumbled into the air, only to be caught by Horus the Vulcan god, slipping in at the last second. Apep fell under the water. The surface churned violently. For a moment, the river was quiet. Then he struck again, this time from below. His massive head slammed against the man-jet's underside. Wood groaned. Water sprayed high. Will braced himself. He knew Apep would not stop until the sun was gone. But this was only the morning. The true danger would come tonight. Matt stepped to her side. "We cannot destroy him here," she said. "The day's journey must continue, or balance will break." For his eyes narrowed. He raised his staff again, casting a wall of blinding light between the boat and the serpent. The light forced Apep back into the depths with a furious hiss. The skies brightened again. The villagers below cheered, unaware of how close the sun had been to vanishing. Ross said nothing. His grip on the staff did not loosen. The day was far from over. Chapter 5. In over the desert, the man-jet sailed high across the sky. The Nile faded behind them, and endless desert stretched below. Golden sand shimmered. Waves of heat danced in the air. His crew worked in silence. They patched the places where Apep's tail had struck. Every creak of wood made them glance nervously at the horizon. Past it, the cat goddess leapt upward from a passing cloud. She landed gracefully, her golden earrings glinting. "I heard Apep attacked early," she said, tail twitching. "He grows bold." "Too bold," Matt replied. "He means to weaken us before nightfall. Best tell and sheathe the claws. Let him try again. I would enjoy scratching his eyes." He smiled faintly, but kept his gaze ahead. Below, the desert tribe saw the bright man jet above and knelt in the sand. They offered dates and figs to the sky. He lowered his staff, letting sunlight pour down. The desert wind cooled for a moment, giving the tribe relief. The camels lifted their heads, and the children laughed. But deep underground, Apep lit through hidden tunnels. He followed the man-jet shadow, waiting for a gap in the light. The heat of the desert slowed him, but his hatred burned hotter. At the far edge of the sand, black clouds gathered. His crew exchanged worried looks. Such clouds were rare over the desert. But steadiest. "That smell, it is not rain." The wine carried a bitter stench poison, sharp and choking. He knew it well. It was the breath of Apep, drifting ahead of him like a warning. The boat sailed on, straight into the waiting dark. Chapter 6. The Shadow Storm. The black clouds swallowed the man-jet whole. The bright desert faded to a secret green haze. The crews all slowed as the water in the sky thickened like oil. Roll gripped the side of the boat. "This is no storm," he said. "It is Apep's breath." From somewhere inside the swollen dark, a hiss echoed. He came from above, below, and all around. The sound slid under the skin, making hearts pound faster. Matt clutched her feather. "Do not let the lies of the dark twist your mind," she warned the crew. One by one, the gods in the man-jet began to see strange shapes in the mist, a friend calling for help, a treasure chest floating by, a path leading to safety. They were illusions, all tricks of Apep. Pastetta's ears flattened. She swiped her shadow creeping over the rail, but her claws passed right through it. "Coward," she spat. "Show yourself." The hiss grew louder. Then without warning, Apep's head broke through the clouds right beside the boat. His mouth opened, fangs dripping with black venom. The crew scattered to the edges of the deck. He lifted his staff, but Apep's tail snapped forward, coiling around the mast. The man-jet groaned as the serpent tried to drag it downward into the churning green. Horror fell from the sky, talons ready. He waited Apep's eyes. The serpent roared, loosening his grip just enough for her to strike. A beam of searing light shot from the staff. He tore through the mist, burning a hole in the cloud cover. Fresh sunlight poured in. Apep shrieked and pulled back. The hole widened until the sky above was blue once more. The man-jet rocked violently, but stayed afloat. The crew steadied themselves, panting. The green eyes thinned and drifted away. His face was grim. Apep grew stronger, he said quietly. "If this is what he dares in daylight, the night ahead will be far worse." The boat sailed out of the last of the shadow, back into the clear desert air. But no one relaxed. The horizon ahead led straight toward the mountains where the day would end and the underworld would begin. Chapter 7. The City of Perilous. By late afternoon, the man-jet floated high above a great city. Tall stone pillars lined the riverbanks. They were carved with images of gods, kings, and the journey of the sun. Below, priests in white linen carried trays of bread and jars of wine. They climbed the temple steps and raised their offerings to the sky. The air rang with the deep sound of drums. I leaned over the side. He lifted his staff and blessed the city with a warm, golden light. The shadows on the temple walls danced like living things. Folk stepped forward with a scroll. This city marks the halfway point of the day's journey, he said. From here, the path turns west toward the mountains. Ma nodded, and every westward turn takes us closer to the gates of night. Past it paced the deck. Her tail flicked sharply. She was restless, her ears tuned to every faint sound. In the temple below, a scent gust of wind blew through the pillars. He knocked over a jar of wine. The red liquid spread across the steps like a dark stain. Ro frowned. That is no wand, he said. From the shadow side of the temple, a ripple in the air appeared like heat rising from stone. He shimmered, twisted, and then solidified into the black coils of Apap. The serpent's head rose between the pillars, towering above the priests. The crowd screamed and scattered. Apap lunged, jaws snapping, trying to reach the manjet above. Ro swung his staff, sending down a shaft of blinding light. The beam struck the temple floor, forcing Apap back. But the serpent laughed. Your light cannot protect them forever, Apap hissed. Night is coming, Ra, and they will be waiting in the deep. With that, he vanished back into the shadows, leaving only the hiss of escaping air. The city below returned to its prayers, but fear hung in the air. The manjet moved on. The mountains were closer now, and the sun was beginning to sink. Chapter 8. The edge of the day. The manjet sailed toward the red horizon. The desert behind them was quiet. The Nile was a silver thread far below. Ahead, the mountains rose black against the fading sky. Between their peaks lay the gate to the underworld. It was called Acre's Gate. The lion-headed guardian stood on either side Acre of yesterday and Eagle of tomorrow. The agricolor. The light softened. Long shadows stretched over the pod. Risk grew prepared for night. Horus sharpened his talons. Pasta cleaned her claws. Faith checked his scrolls, whispering protective spells. Matt stood at the bow. She held her feather high, as if testing the balance of the world. It is still steady, she said, but the pool of darkness grows. Below, in the deep cracks of the mountains, Apap coiled. The serpent's body wound around ancient stars. His eyes glowed in the gloom. He could feel the sunlight wiggling. Every inch the sun sank was another inch of strength for him. The manjet glided closer to Acre's gate. The two lion guardians bowed their great heads. Their golden eyes flickered like fire. Raw, the path ahead is dark, said Acre of yesterday. Apap waits. We will hold the gate until we pass, said Acre of tomorrow. But once you are inside, the underworld is your own fight. Ra nodded, then opened the way. With a deep rumble, the mountain floor split. The gate yawned wide, revealing a tunnel of black stone. From within, a cold bent blue, smelling of dust and age. The manjet slid into the opening. The last light of day shimmered on its stern before vanishing into the dark. Chapter 9. The River of the Underworld. The Underworld's river was not like the Nile. Its water was black as ink, thick and slow. Strange fish with glowing eyes swam just beneath the surface. Every ripple whispered secrets. The boat moved forward in silence. Only the steady splash of the oars could be heard. The walls of the tunnel dripped with moisture. Sometimes the rocks seemed to move, shifting into faces that washed silently before melting back into stone. Stay alert, further warned. This is where the shadows have teeth. Bastard sniffed the air. Her ears twitched. I smell him, she said softly. From far ahead came a low rumble. It was not thunder. It was the deep, patient growl of Apap. The serpent's body lay coiled around a bend in the river. He was waiting where the tunnel widened into a cavern. His scales shimmered faintly in the dim glow of her light. Come, thank God, Apap's voice echoed against the rock. This time, there is no sky for you to hide in. Russ stepped forward. His staff burned brighter, cutting a path of gold across the black water. The serpent's eyes narrowed, but he did not move. Not yet. The man jet drifted closer. The cavern walls widened. The ceiling disappeared into shadow. Apap's tail twitched in the water, making waves that slapped against the point. His head lifted higher, towering above the deck. And then, with a speed no one could match, he struck. Chapter 10. Battle in the cavern. Apap's jaws came down like a collapsing cliff. He swung his staff, a flash of pure light bursting from its tip. The beam hit Apap snailed, forcing him to rear back with a hiss. The bite lurched, was clattered. Chris leapt into the air, wings beating hard, aiming for Apap's eyes. Apap twisted. His tail lashed across the water, striking the manjat's side. The hull ground. Wood splintered, busted down to forward. She slashed the coils wrapping toward the deck. Her claws tore thin glowing lines across the black scales. Apap roared in pain, snapping at her, but she was already gone, darting behind the mast. Matt planted herself at the stern. Her feather glowed so brightly it pushed back the darkness around her. The balance of the world trembled but held steady. That unveiled the scroll and shattered ancient words. Golden symbols spun into the air, circling Apap's head like chains. The serpent thrashed, snapping at the glowing symbols. But the magic slowed him just enough. Now, Duat cried. Ro raised his staff high. A column of sunlight shot upward, piercing the cavern roof. For a moment, it was as if noon had returned. The heat burned against Apap's scales, making them smoke. The serpent shrieked and turned beneath the water. Bubbles churned to the surface. The black river boiled from his fury. The boat rocked violently. A deep shadow passed beneath them. Then another. He's circling us, Bastard said, ears flat. Without warning, Apap exploded upward again, this time from behind. His jaws clamped around the back of the manger, teeth biting into the deck. The crew staggered forward. The boat tipped dangerously toward the water. Rob planted his staff into the wood. Not today, serpent, he roared. The staff flared, flooding the cavern with light so intense the water itself turned gold. Apap recoiled, screaming, his body widened as the glow sealed him. With one final hiss, he sank into the black depths, leaving only silence and ripples. The crew stood panting, gripping the rails. They knew he was not gone. He would strike again before dawn. The manjet pushed onward, deeper into the underworld river. Chapter 11. The Hollow Trail. The river narrowed. The walls closed in until the manjet could barely pass. Torches burned in brackets along the stone, their flames pale and blue. This is the Hollow Trails, Duat said. We must pass through before reaching the dawn gate. Figures moved between the torches tall, silent guardians with jackal heads. They carried spears tipped with obsidian. Their eyes glowed faintly in the torchlight. One step forward, blocking the way. Ra, it said in a voice like grinding stone. Prove the word of your light, only the strong may pass. Ra nodded. He stepped off the boat onto a narrow stone ledge. The guardian raised his spear. The first trail was of strength. Ra met the guardian's blows with his staff, sparks flying at every stride. At last, Ra struck the spear from the guardian's hands. The second trail was of truth. Matt came forward. She placed her feather on a golden scale. Her heart was weighed against it, and the scale balanced perfectly. The third trail was of wisdom. Third answered riddles spoken by the stone walls themselves. Each answer made a torch flare brighter. When all three trails were passed, the guardian stepped aside. The riverhead opened once more. The man-jet flew forward into a vast, dark chamber. Far in the shadows, a slow, deliberate hiss began again. Chapter 12. The Sea of Night. The river widened until it was no longer a river at all. It became a black, endless sea. No shore was in sight. The water was made of glass, reflecting nothing. The man-jet drifted forward, its golden glare the only light in the vast dark. The crew moved quietly, as if afraid to wake something sleeping beneath the surface. In the silence, a deep vibration rolled through the water. It was slow at first, then faster. Ripples spread outward from the bow. Pastetta's ears flattened. "He is here," she whispered. A long shadow appeared under the boat. It was so large it swallowed the man-jet's reflection whole. The shadow circled once, twice, then stopped directly beneath them. The water bulged upward. Apophis' head rose, black water pouring off his scales. His eyes burned brighter than ever. His voice was calm, almost gentle. "The sea has no end. Row," he said. "Your boat will drift here forever until the world forgets the sand." Ross stepped to the bow. "My life will rise again, as it always has." The serpent smiled a slow, terrible thing. "Then come and prove it." In a single motion, Apophis reared up, his flank towering like a living mountain. The man-jet shook in the swell of his rise. Riz launched into the air, slicing past the serpent's eyes, past that leap from mast to coil, clawing deep into the thick black scales. Will raised his staff and drove it into the deck. Light erupted across the surface of the water, racing toward Apophis. But the serpent opened his jaws wide and swallowed the light whole. Darkness rushed back over the sea. The man-jet flickered like a candle in the wind. Third gripped the rail. "If the light dies here, the sun will not rise," he warned. Apophis struck. His coils wrapped around the man-jet, pulling it toward the depths. The boat creaked and ground. The crew braced themselves as the black water climbed the rails. For his eyes blazed. He planted both hands on the staff and shouted words older than the desert sands. The tip of the staff ignited not with golden sunlight, but with white fire, pure and searing. The fire surged outward, racing along Apophis' coils. The serpent screamed, uncoiling in pain. Steam hissed from his scales where the fire burned. The man-jet broke free, rocking wildly, but still afloat. The white fire burned like a small sun in the star strip. And somewhere far ahead, the first faint glow of dawn touched the horizon of the underworld. Chapter 13. The Chase to the Dawn Gate. The man-jet sped across the Black Sea, was flashing in the strange light. Behind them, Apophis rose again, fury driving him faster than the water itself. Every stroke of the oars felt slower against his relentless approach. The crew pushed harder. Rivers circled above, diving at Apophis' head whenever he drew too close. Past it leapt from bow to stern, slashing at every coil that breached the water. Matt held her feather high. Its flow grew stronger the nearer they came to the horizon's pale line. The balance is almost restored, she said. But if he reaches us before the gate, it will tip again. A wall of rock appeared ahead, jagged cliffs curled into the shapes of colossal cobras. Between them was a narrow arch of light. The dawn gate began to lay the world of the living. Apophis saw it true. With a roar, he dove beneath the water. The sea heaved and boiled. The man jet shuddered. He means to rise in front of the gate, further on. The water head bulged high. Apophis' head burst forth, logging the arch entirely. His jaws opened wide, the gate's glow reflecting in his throat. The boat slowed. The crew stared at the living wall of teeth and shadow before them. Ross stepped forward, gripping the star tightly. This stands now. He lifted it high, drawing every last spark of light from the mancha into its tip. The deck dimmed. The air grew still. Then rolled fast the staff forward. The light exploded in a blinding wave, filling the cavern, the sea, the very air itself. Apophis screamed, thrashing in the beam. The wave struck the serpent full in the chest, driving him back into the depths. The dawn gate's glow blaze had entered. The mancha surged forward, racing through the arch, as the first light of morning spilled into the world above. Chapter 14. Rise of the morning sun. The mancha buzzed through the dawn gate like an arrow of light. Golden rays spread across the sky, chasing away the last shadows of night. Below, the world woke. The Nile shimmered silver. Birds took flight. Fishermen pushed their boats into the water. Ross stood tall at the bow. The sun's disc on his crown burned bright and clear once more. Warmth poured down over fields, cities, and deserts. Behind them, the underworld gate sealed shut with a low rumble. The Black Sea was gone, hidden again beneath the earth. Apophis' roars faded into the deep, but they were not gone from his mind. Past that stretched lazily in the sunlight, river glinting gold. That was satisfying, she said, though her eyes still searched the horizon. Horus circled once before landing on the deck. He is wounded, the Falcon guard reported. But he will heal. He always does. Five rolled up his scrolls. We have until sunset, he said gravely. Then the journey begins again. Matt stood beside Ro. Her feather gleamed in the morning light. The balance is restored for now, she said. But the scales never stopped tipping. She looked down over the waking world. Farmers bowed in the fields, children waved from rooftops, priests lifted their arms in prayer. This was why he sailed, why he fought, why he rose every morning. The mancha glided smoothly over the brightening sky. The queen moved with steady hands, their eyes already knowing the rhythm of the endless cycle. For them, the battle with Apophis was never truly won and never truly lost. Every day began with light. Every night ended in darkness. And between them, the sun god sailed on, guarding the whale from the serpent in the deep. Chapter 15. The Eternal Voyage. By mid-morning, the land below was busy again. Markets filled with voices. Wheels rattled on stone streets. The night carried its endless song to the sea. Roy walked from part to stern, speaking to each crew member. He thanked the Pastor for her claws, Walrus for his wings, Zeph for his wisdom, and Matt for her unshakable balance. The mancha gleamed as it cut across the sky, leaving a golden wake in the clouds. Every were dipped into the river of light, pulling them through the far horizon. But deep below, past the reach of the sun, in tunnels no light could touch, Epap waited. His coils rested on cold stone. His yellow eyes never closed. The serpent whispered to the darkness, "Tomorrow, roar, tomorrow, I will end you." And somewhere far above, his voice carried on the wind, "Tomorrow, Epap, tomorrow, I will rise again." The sun blazed higher, bathing the world in warmth. The cycle would turn once more, and the voyage of raw, eternal and unbroken, sailed all across the sky. And so the tail of the little ball of rock came towards the close. Each morning, the sun god rose from his place of rest, climbing aboard the golden manjet. Each day, he blazed the fields, the cities, the deserts, and the Nile. Each evening, he sailed into the waiting dark, where he babbled in the depths of the underworld. Sometimes Ra won easily. Sometimes the serpent nearly pulled him into the black waters forever. But always, at the first light of dawn, Ra returned, and with him came warmth, life, and the promise of another day. The farmers would plant their seeds. The children would run in the sun. The priests would pray in the golden light. And the world would turn, balanced by Mada's feather and Calipyra's fire. Far below, in the endless dark, Epap coiled and waited. The serpent knew the cycle would never end. But so did Ra. It was not a curse. It was the heartbeat of the world. And as long as Ra sailed his bird across the sky, the sun would rise for everyone, from the tallest temple in Thebes to the smallest reed by the riverbank. The Nile whispered its song, the sands glowed gold, and the eternal voyage carried on, forever and always. Thank you for listening. This is YugMythos. It has been an honor to put you to sleep with yet another epic mythology story. Good night and sleep.